Hello, I'm Dr. Richard, and here at Gentle Health, we believe in something simple. We do not make healthy aging confusing. We do not assume that staying strong requires expensive equipment, a gym membership, or a complicated fitness routine. And we do not believe older adults need to suffer through exhausting workouts just to protect their health. What matters most is not what looks impressive. What matters is what actually helps you move better, stay steadier, feel stronger, and keep your independence for as long as possible. So if you are over 60 and walking is your main form of exercise, today's message may change the way you think about one of the most familiar movements in your life. Now let me say this clearly right from the start. Walking is excellent. Walking is one of the best habits many older adults can have. It supports the heart, improves circulation, lifts the mood, encourages daily movement, and helps reduce long hours of sitting. If you walk regularly, you are already doing something very good for your body. Please keep walking. But there is one important truth many people are never told. Simply walking is good, but how you walk matters more than most people realize. In fact, if you are over 60, there is one way of walking that deserves much more attention than it gets. It is not a trendy fitness trick. It is not extreme. It is not risky. It does not require you to walk farther than you can handle. It does not require a treadmill, a fitness tracker, or athletic ambition. It only requires a small change in the way you walk. But that small change can make walking more powerful for your heart, your legs, your balance, your confidence, and your long-term independence. So what is this one way to walk? Walk with purposeful pace changes. In simple terms, that means this. Instead of walking at the exact same easy pace the whole time, you occasionally walk a little faster for short periods, then return to your comfortable pace, then repeat. Not a sprint, not breathless, not out of control, just a safe, steady increase in pace for a short stretch, followed by recovery. Then again, that is it. And I know what some people may be thinking already. Isn't walking just walking? Not quite. Because the body responds to challenge. When you do the same easy movement in the same easy way every day, your body maintains a certain level. But when you gently ask it to do a little more, even briefly, your body gets a reason to adapt. Your heart works a little harder. Your lungs wake up more. Your legs push more firmly. Your arms swing more naturally. Your posture improves. Your brain pays more attention. And over time, that can make a remarkable difference. This is especially important after 60, because aging does not just affect how far you can walk. It affects how strongly you move, how confidently you recover your balance, how quickly you respond to uneven ground, how well your body manages effort, and how much reserve you have when daily life suddenly asks more of you. That reserve matters. Because real life is not one long flat hallway at one comfortable speed. Real life asks you to cross a street before the light changes. It asks you to keep up with a grandchild for a moment. It asks you to walk through a parking lot in the heat. It asks you to climb a slight hill, carry a bag, step around obstacles, or reach the bathroom quickly at night. Life does not always happen at one slow, predictable pace. And if your walking never trains your body to handle small increases in demand, you may slowly lose the ability to respond when those moments come. That is why this one walking method matters so much. Purposeful pace walking trains you to do more than simply move. It trains you to adapt. It teaches your body how to shift gears. It reminds your muscles and cardiovascular system that they still need to be ready. It helps preserve not just motion, but responsiveness. And responsiveness is one of the hidden keys to staying independent. Now, to be clear, I am not telling you to turn your peaceful walk into a race. That is not the message. The goal is not to prove anything. The goal is not to push until you are gasping. The goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is to walk in a way that gently challenges the body enough to help it stay capable. Think of it like this. A casual stroll is pleasant and beneficial. But a casual stroll may not always be enough to build or maintain your best walking ability as you get older. If you want walking to do more for you, then sometimes your walking has to ask a little more from you. And that little more is often exactly where improvement begins. Many adults over 60 begin to notice changes they did not expect. They may still be walking, but they notice they have slowed down. They may avoid hills. They may feel a little less steady when turning. They may get tired sooner than before. They may hesitate at curbs. They may feel less confident walking in crowds or on uneven surfaces. They may take smaller steps. They may not call it weakness. They may not call it aging, but they feel it. And often, one of the earliest clues that the body is becoming less resilient is not that a person stops moving, it is that they stop challenging movement. That is an important difference. You can still be active and yet be undertraining the exact abilities your body needs most. You can still go for walks every day and yet never ask your heart, your legs, or your balance system to rise above the same familiar level. And if the body is no longer being asked to rise, it may slowly settle lower. That is why walking with pace changes can be so valuable. It creates a safe, manageable form of challenge inside a familiar activity. You do not need to learn a whole new exercise. You do not need to buy anything. You do not need to leave your routine. You simply upgrade your routine. And for many older adults, that is exactly the kind of change that lasts. Let's talk about what actually happens when you walk a little faster for short periods. First, your heart and lungs get a stronger signal. They have to deliver oxygen more efficiently. That supports endurance and cardiovascular fitness. Second, your legs have to produce more force. Your calves, thighs, hips, and glutes all contribute more. Third, your posture often improves when you walk with intention. People tend to stand taller, look forward, and swing their arms more naturally. Fourth, your coordination sharpens. Faster walking, even if only slightly faster, requires timing, rhythm, and awareness. Fifth, your confidence can grow. When you feel your body handling more than a slow shuffle, you begin to trust it again. And trust matters. A lot of people over 60 are not only dealing with physical decline, they are dealing with fear. Fear of falling, fear of getting tired too fast, fear of walking alone, fear of being far from home, fear of looking unstable in public, fear that their body will not respond the way it used to. Some speak that fear out loud, others carry it quietly, but either way, it changes behavior. They start choosing the shortest route, they avoid stairs, they hold railings more tightly, they stop walking in busy places, they take fewer walks when the weather is not ideal, they become cautious, then more cautious, then smaller in how they move, and when movement becomes smaller, life often becomes smaller too. This is where purposeful walking can be so powerful. It does not just help the body, it can help restore confidence. Each time you walk slightly faster and realize, yes, I can do this, you send a very important message to the brain. I still have capacity. I still have control. I can still ask more from my body. I am not as fragile as fear has been telling me. That is not a small thing. That is deeply important. Now let's make this practical. What exactly do I mean by walking faster? I do not mean jogging. I do not mean speed walking, like you are late for a train. I mean walking at a pace that feels clearly more energetic than your usual pace, while still staying controlled. You should feel that your breathing has increased, but you should not feel panicked. You should still be able to speak, but not as casually as when walking slowly. You should feel more alive, not distressed. For many people, the easiest way to understand it is this. Your comfortable pace is the pace where you could chat freely. Your purposeful pace is the pace where you can still talk, but you know you are working. That is enough. And you do not need to hold that pace for a long time. In fact, one of the safest ways to start is with a simple pattern. Walk at your normal, comfortable pace for a few minutes. Then walk slightly faster for 1 minute. Then return to comfortable pace for 2 or 3 minutes. Repeat that cycle several times depending on how you feel. That is a very approachable place to begin. 1 minute faster. A few minutes easier. Then again. Simple, familiar, effective. If even 1 minute feels too long, start with 20 or 30 seconds. There is no shame in that. Progress begins where you are, not where someone else is. A person who does 3 short pace changes safely is doing something valuable. A person who listens to the body and builds gradually is doing it the right way. Healthy aging is not about proving toughness. It is about building function. And the body responds beautifully to repeated, reasonable signals. Small efforts, repeated consistently, are often far more powerful than dramatic efforts done once and abandoned. That is one of the biggest lessons older adults need to hear. You do not need a heroic workout. You need a sustainable one. You do not need to punish your body. You need to remind it that it is still needed. Now let's talk about why this matters for walking speed itself. Walking speed may sound like a small detail, but it is not. Walking speed is closely connected to function, mobility, and independence in later life. When walking speed slows significantly, it often reflects changes in strength, balance, endurance, and confidence. That does not mean every slower walker is unhealthy. But it does mean walking speed can tell us a great deal about how the body is functioning. And one of the best ways to protect walking ability is to occasionally practice walking a little faster than usual. This does not mean forcing big strides or straining. In fact, forcing long steps can be uncomfortable and sometimes unsafe. What helps more is a smoother, slightly quicker rhythm with good posture. Stand tall. Keep your eyes forward, not down all the time. Let your arms swing naturally. Land gently, and keep moving with steady control. Think less about taking huge steps and more about walking with clear intention. That intention changes everything. When people walk passively, they often slump, shuffle, shorten the stride too much, and drift through the movement. But when they walk with purpose, posture improves, energy improves, awareness improves. The walk becomes training, not just transportation. And that can help in more ways than many people realize. For example, walking with short purposeful intervals can support balance. Why? Because balance is not only about standing still. Balance is also about controlling your body while it is moving. It is about weight shifting, rhythm, coordination, foot placement, and reacting to change. A slightly quicker pace, done safely, encourages the nervous system to stay engaged. It asks the feet and legs to organize movement more efficiently. It can help reduce the tendency to move in a hesitant, disconnected way. The goal is not to rush. The goal is to become more capable. Another hidden benefit of this style of walking is mental freshness. When you add intervals or pace changes, the walk becomes more active for the brain too. You are not just drifting through the same routine. You are paying attention. You are noticing effort. You are changing gears. You are becoming more engaged with what your body is doing. That can make walking feel more purposeful and less dull, which makes many people more likely to stay with it. And consistency is where the magic really happens. 1 good walk helps. 10 good walks start to build something. 50 good walks begin to change how you feel in daily life. The breathing becomes easier. The legs feel more awake. The body feels less heavy. Getting out of the car feels easier. Stairs feel less intimidating. Recovering from a stumble may feel more possible. That is what practical exercise should do. It should transfer into ordinary life. Because ordinary life is where independence lives. The ability to walk through a shop without fatigue, cross a road with confidence, keep up with everyday tasks, and recover from small surprises in your environment. Those are not glamorous achievements, but they are profound ones. They are the quiet foundations of freedom. Now let's address something very important. What if you have not exercised much in years? Then this method may actually be one of the best places to begin, because it meets you inside a familiar movement. You do not need to learn a complicated routine. You already know how to walk. All you are doing is adding structure and purpose to it. That can make exercise feel far less intimidating. What if you have arthritis? You can still use the principle gently. Keep your route comfortable. Choose a flat surface. Wear supportive shoes. Shorten the faster intervals if needed. Focus on smoothness, not speed. The goal is not to push through joint pain. The goal is to create a manageable increase in effort. What if you get out of breath easily? Then your faster pace may only be slightly faster than normal. That is perfectly acceptable. Your body does not compare your pace with anyone else's. It only responds to what is more challenging than your own usual level. For one person, faster may mean a strong outdoor walk. For another, it may mean walking down the hallway with more purpose. Both can be meaningful. What if balance is a concern? Then start where you feel safest. Walk indoors, in a quiet corridor, around your home, on a level path, or with someone nearby. Use support if advised by your clinician. You can even begin by practicing short posture-focused walking segments rather than true intervals. The principle remains the same: safe, intentional challenge. And if you use a cane or walker, that does not automatically disqualify you from benefiting. Many people using assistive devices can still practice slightly more purposeful walking within safe limits. The pace change may be very small, but small still counts. That is a message worth repeating. Small still counts. Too many older adults believe improvement only matters if it looks impressive. But the body is not judging appearances. It is responding to signals. A little more effort, repeated often, tells the body to maintain capacity. A little more intention, repeated often, tells the nervous system to stay involved. A little more pace, repeated often, tells the heart and legs they are still needed. Now, Let me tell you something else many people overlook. Walking at only one slow, careful speed all the time can sometimes reinforce fragility. I say that gently, not critically. Slowness can be appropriate, especially during recovery, pain, or instability. But if slowness becomes your only pattern, the body can begin to organize itself around caution. The steps get smaller. The arms move less. The trunk stiffens. The confidence drops. The person is still walking, yes, but often not in a way that builds resilience. Purposeful pace walking helps interrupt that. It says to the body, we are still capable of more. We are still able to coordinate. We can still lift the pace safely. We can still move with some energy. We do not have to live only in hesitation. That can be a powerful shift, physically and emotionally. Now let's talk about form, because how you carry yourself during the walk makes a real difference. Start by standing tall, but not rigid. Think of lengthening through the spine rather than stiffening it. Let the shoulders relax. Keep the chin level instead of drop toward the chest. Look ahead so your body stays more upright. Allow the arms to swing naturally. Try not to lock the knees or slap the feet. Let the steps be smooth and controlled. When you increase your pace, do it by gently increasing rhythm, not by lunging forward. You are not trying to cover the earth with giant steps. You are simply walking with more life, more intention, more forward energy. That alone can change the quality of the movement dramatically. Another helpful idea is to think of your walk in stages. The first stage is the warm-up, a few easy minutes to let the body settle into motion. The second stage is the purposeful section. This is where you add your short, faster intervals. The third stage is the return. Slow down, breathe, and finish in control. This structure gives the walk a beginning, a middle, and an end. It helps people avoid the mistake of starting too hard or finishing abruptly. It also makes the activity feel more like a real routine, which can strengthen commitment. And commitment matters more than perfection. Do not worry about having the ideal route, the ideal weather, the ideal outfit, or the ideal walking plan. Most people do not fail because they picked the wrong routine. They fail because they wait for a perfect routine. Please do not do that. Begin with what you have. Begin where you are. Begin with 5 minutes if that is honest. Begin with 1 or 2 pace changes if that is realistic. That beginning is enough. Because beginnings are powerful. They break inertia. They interrupt decline. They create possibility. They remind the body that change is still available. Now, for those who are already walking every day, this method may be the missing piece. Many active older adults have a good base of movement, but very little variation. They walk the same route, at the same pace, for the same duration, and then wonder why progress stalls. The answer is often not to walk endlessly longer. The answer is to walk a little smarter. A slightly faster pace at chosen moments can do more for function than adding another slow 10 minutes. Not always, and not for everyone, but very often. Because challenge, not just duration, helps maintain vitality. This becomes even more important as we think about healthy aging in a complete way. Good aging is not only about blood pressure, cholesterol, or body weight. It is also about being able to get where you need to go. It is about not feeling trapped by fatigue. It is about moving through life with enough reserve that everyday demands do not feel overwhelming. That reserve is worth protecting. And one of the most accessible ways to protect it is to make your walks slightly more meaningful. If you want an extremely simple starting plan, here it is. Walk easily for 5 minutes. Then do 3 rounds of this. 1 minute at a more purposeful pace, followed by 2 or 3 minutes easy. Then finish with a few calm minutes. That is enough for many beginners. If that feels good after a couple of weeks, you can build to 4 or 5 rounds. If 1 minute still feels too hard, do 30 seconds. If that becomes easy, stretch it gently. That is progression. Not dramatic, not reckless, just gradual. And gradual is often exactly what works best after 60. I also want to say something important about comparison. Please do not compare your walking pace to someone younger, fitter, or further along. Do not compare your current self to the person you were 20 years ago. That comparison steals energy you could be using to improve. The only useful question is this: am I asking my body for a little more than I did before, in a way that is safe and sustainable? If the answer is yes, you are moving in the right direction. And if some days you feel slower, that is normal. Bodies are not machines. Sleep, stress, stiffness, weather, hydration, and health all affect how a walk feels. A slower day is not failure. It is just feedback. Respect it, adjust if needed, then continue. This kind of realistic mindset is essential because older adults often stop exercising not because the routine failed, but because they interpreted an imperfect day as proof that they were no longer capable. Please do not make that mistake. Capability grows through patience. Now I want to speak directly to those who have started to believe that slowing down is simply inevitable and there is nothing to be done. Yes, aging changes the body. Yes, recovery may be slower. Yes, some limitations are real. But many people underestimate how much function can improve when the body is given clear, repeated reasons to stay engaged. Your body is listening to what you practice. If you practice only caution, it learns caution. If you practice only passivity, it learns passivity. But if you practice safe, purposeful movement, it learns capability. That is why this matters. It is not about chasing youth. It is about protecting function. It is about preserving the ability to live on your own terms, to walk into a room with confidence, to cross a street without panic, to go outside without fear, to feel that your body is still an ally, not a burden. These may seem like ordinary things, but they are some of the most meaningful freedoms a person can have. And very often, those freedoms are preserved not by dramatic transformation, but by small daily choices made consistently. So if you are over 60 and you already walk, I want to encourage you today. Keep walking, but do not always walk the same way. Add moments of purpose. Add short periods of slightly faster pace. Add structure. Add intention. Give your heart a reason to respond. Give your legs a reason to wake up. Give your balance system a reason to stay alert. Give your confidence a reason to return. If you do that regularly, the benefits can reach far beyond the walk itself. You may notice that everyday movement feels more natural. You may notice you recover more quickly from effort. You may notice that standing, turning, climbing, carrying, and keeping up with life feel less difficult. You may notice that fear begins to loosen its grip, and that may be one of the most valuable changes of all, because fear shrinks life. Confidence expands it. And confidence is often rebuilt one manageable success at a time. So here is the message I want to leave you with today. If you are over 60, do not underestimate the power of walking. But also do not assume that all walking gives you the same return. One of the smartest changes you can make is this. Stop walking every walk at one unchanging, comfortable pace. Instead, start adding short, safe bursts of more purposeful walking today. Not to exhaust yourself, not to prove yourself, but to train your body for real life. To strengthen the heart, to awaken the legs, to sharpen coordination, to support balance, to protect endurance, to preserve independence, and most of all, to remind your body that it is still meant to do more than just get by. It is still meant to live. So start where you are, walk on a safe surface, warm up first, increase your pace gently, recover fully, repeat only what feels reasonable, stay consistent, stay patient, stay honest. You do not need perfect performance, you need regular practice. And remember this, after 60, the goal is not just to keep moving. The goal is to keep moving well. That is a very different thing. Walk with intention. Walk with a little purpose. Walk in a way that teaches your body to stay ready for life. Because healthy aging is not only about adding years, it is about protecting the strength, steadiness, and freedom inside those years. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm Dr. Richard, and this is Gentle Health, where we keep things calm, clear, and practical for adults over 60. If this message helped you, stay connected with us for more simple advice that supports real-life strength, safer movement, and lasting independence. And if you know someone who walks every day but may be slowing down more than they realize, share this message with them. Sometimes one small change in a familiar habit becomes the very thing that helps protect the future. Take care of yourself, move with purpose, trust that your body can still respond. And if you are over 60, start walking this one way today.